I thought making games would be fun, but I was wrong. 2 years ago, I thought making games would be fun. I thought I would spend my days building cool mechanics, designing monsters, and eventually releasing a game people would love. But I was wrong. Instead, I got bugs that made no sense, multiplayer systems that broke reality, and burnout I didn't see coming. And one project that slowly became bigger than I could control. Its name is Jupiter. Before starting, let me introduce you to our game Jupiter. It's a brutal sandbox survival experience where a single mistake leads to a disaster. You must manage your nitrogen, conquer treacherous climbs, and adapt to an unforgiving world. With no set paths and no rules, you can create your own adventure alone in the void or team up with friends to shape your ultimate story of survival. Locate the signal, save your crew. Will you survive Jupiter? I have been around computers for as long as I can remember. My dad bought me a Windows XP computer when I was a kid. I still remember trying to download Mario games from random websites and getting jump scared by fake virus pop-ups. The sound was so loud I once unplugged the computer from the wall. You know, games were always there. Need for Speed, GTA. I played them with my dad and alone for years, and without realizing it, I grew up inside games. And when I look back, I was basically raised by computers. At 16, I started taking technology seriously. I built my first blockchain project and somehow ended up on national news in Turkey. Then I left my home country and started building my life abroad. But even then, I wasn't really focused. I loved games, but I had no idea how to make them. Game development always felt like something huge, like a mountain only real developers could climb. So I avoided it, until I didn't. I opened Unity for the first time and just started, then Unreal Engine, and slowly I started building small things. About a year ago I had an idea, a co-op game. Something inspired by survival games, sandbox chaos, and playing with friends late at night. A game where anything could happen. I called it Jupiter. In my head, it was simple. Fun systems, easy multiplayer, small scope, and just a friendslop game, nothing crazy. At least, that's what I thought. The first thing that broke me was multiplayer. I thought it would take a week, maybe two, but it didn't. Because when you're playing a multiplayer game, everything looks simple. But when you're building one, nothing is simple. Replication wasn't just hard, it was unpredictable. Players started teleporting through walls, objects desynchronized. The game would look fine on my screen and completely broken on someone else's. And every fix created two new problems. Then I came to scope creep. Jupiter was supposed to be small, but every time I worked on it, I had another idea. What if we add inventory? What if we add progression? What if we add AI? What if we add base building? And every idea felt necessary. Every idea felt like it would make the game better. But none of them came for free. Each one added weeks, sometimes months of work. And suddenly, the small co-op game wasn't small anymore. It was everything. So after years of work, we came to the Steam Next Fest, and I genuinely believed this would be the moment everything changed. The moment it would all make sense, but it didn't. The numbers came in, and they weren't what I hoped for. Not terrible, but not enough. And for the first time I started questioning everything. Was this even going anywhere? Was all this effort worth it? There was a point where I genuinely thought about stopping and quitting the game development. But after a while, I realized something. I didn't start making games for statistics. I didn't start for Steam Wishlist. I started because I love building things, even when it hurts. even when it's messy, even when it takes longer than expected. And Jupyter is the biggest thing I have ever built. Looking back at everything I screwed up, I ask myself a lot. If I lost all my projects today and had to start over again, and had to start from completely over zero, what would I actually do? Because let's be honest, the people that give advice to beginners is just usually terrible. They tell you to follow 10-hour tutorial in order to make Flappy Bird clones that just melt your brain. If I were starting today, I wouldn't do any of that. First thing, I would lock myself in only one engine. Pick one and just lock in. Don't waste 3 months on debating about Unreal Engine is better or the Unity or the Godot. It doesn't matter, just pick one, accept the flaws. Just stick to it about 6 months. And the second thing is, this is usually where people screw up. Stop trying to learn programming before you try to make a game. Learning C# or C++ in a vacuum is just a death sentence for your motivation. It's like driving car or riding a bike. You don't usually read the manuals. You just learn how the way it is. You just get onto it and just ride it. You learn by just making mistakes one by one, solving each one by one. It's like 1,000 cuts. In each cut, you get deeper and deeper. Learn the absolute basics of variables and functions, and then immediately start breaking things inside the engine. The next thing is, I would completely ban myself from making my dream game. Your dream game is a trap that will kill your hobby before it starts. Instead, I would rather use the clone and tweak method. I would actually pick that game that actually works. Let's say Pong and Asteroids. I will try to build its foundation just by looking to guide, but the moment the cloning process is down, the real learning starts, because you have to improve it by adding different mechanics and stuff. I will force myself adding things that weren't in tutorials or in the guides. It's like asking yourself, can I add a camera shake to the game when it hits the paddle? Or you can ask yourself that, can I add a shop system that I can make paddles more large? This actually forces you to learn it from documentation and not just following from the YouTube tutorials. And finally, the most important thing if I had to start over is like keeping the scope so small that it feels like insulting yourself. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you think a project will take you a week, it will eventually begin to be like 1 month. If you think it will take 3 months or 6 months, just see you next year. Make games that less time to finish, not a year, not a month. Just a vertical slice that you can only see your mechanics instead of just art. Just build the mechanic, add a main menu to get into the game, and just export the build. If your vertical slice that no art gives you the fun that you want, then you can good to go. So if you're staring at blank engine screen and don't know where to start, just do it. Start by building clones, then break them using your own ideas. The first thing is pick an engine and stick to it, and the second thing is just build a clone game that you will aggressively break by your own ideas, and finish short, ugly games instead of unfinished masterpieces. Game dev is brutal, but if you stop trying to climb mountain all at once, it's actually kind of fun. Just see you soon.